All right, hi everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Fahim Niaz. I am the product manager for Anime Studio. Today we have a very special guest who will chat with us and present some of his workflow tips and tricks. Victor Paredes, aka Selgan, on the Lost Marble forums. I think everyone knows who Selgan is. So I'll go on to the next slide. So before we begin this webinar, we have a few housekeeping items that I'd like to share with you. Everyone is muted except for the panelists. In the past, we've tried to communicate with everyone at the same time, verbally, and unfortunately it makes WebEx crash and hang up basically. So right now, this system has worked for us pretty well. So feel free to ask us questions and make comments as you would like. When you do so, use the chat functionality and make sure that you select send to all panelists. So please feel free to ask questions in that chat functionality. As you heard Michi mention that we will be recording this webinar, and it will be available to everyone at the end of the week, hopefully, or at least in a week's time. If we have any technical issues, please pardon us. Sometimes it does happen with WebEx, and as you heard, Michi is our WebEx specialist, so if you have any issues, please feel free to contact her. Her handle is Smith Microsoftware. So the agenda for today will include an introduction to Victor, and we will then go into Victor's presentation, which is basically a walk cycle and different variations of the walk cycle, some head turns, and then if there's some more time, then he'll go into some other stuff as well. At the very end, we'll have a Q&A session. What I recommend is if you could please start asking questions for the Q&A immediately via the chat functionality, and then hopefully towards the end of the presentation, we will get to those questions. So the more questions you have ready earlier during the presentation, it would be more helpful for us. And that way, we won't come to a situation where we get to the end and there are no questions. So feel free to post your questions, and then we will try to get to as many of them as possible in the allotted time before the webinar ends. So the whole webinar should be about an hour. We may go a little bit over, just so you guys know. So I'd like to introduce Victor. As everyone knows, Victor is an award-winning 2D animator from Santiago, Chile. So he's joining us from South America right now. He's been creating animations professionally for the last 6 years. He was one of the first users, or at least one of the pioneers of Moho, and he's worked on various animation projects, including short film documentaries and commercials for companies such as Chevrolet, Nextel, and Nestle, among many others. So Victor has won several awards in his native Chile for his animations, and he's been a moderator on the Anime Studio forums, Lost Marble, for many years. He's also joined by his friend Paulo, who will be helping him with some English translations and what have you, as need be. So with that being said, Victor, I'd like to pass on the ball to you, and Victor will begin his presentation right now.
Okay, ya estoy compartiendo. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for this webinar. I want to talk about two topics which seems very important to me and which are asked very much in the forum. First, I want to talk about work cycles, but I want to focus in quadruped work cycle. Okay, that will be the first topic. The second one will be head turns with blend morph and with masking. Okay, so if there are more time in this webinar, I can try with other topics, but I decided these two because they seem the most important to me. Okay, so first, to make a work cycle, I created a very simple base walk. Okay, this base work is based in pre-contacts, which are when the legs are the most wide open, and the legs and arms. Okay, so the first contact is the legs open, legs and arms. The second contact is exactly the same than the first one, but with the legs and arms reversed, and the third one is exactly the same than the first one. So this will act as a cycle. Okay. Now, between each contact, you have a passing position, which is when the one leg touch the ground, and the other leg is passing from back to the front of the body. Okay, so the passing position must be the two passing positions are exactly the same, but with the legs and arms reversed. Okay, so we're gonna work with this base. Now, in the forum I have posted the walk ruler, which is available in your files too. This ruler, I add a little color option. So now this ruler, when it is green, it tells you have to make the contact position. When it becomes yellow, you have to make the passing position. When it is green, again, you have to make the other contact. Now the other passing position and the other contact again. So I think now it is easier to don't get lost with the ruler. Okay. If you go to the vector layer of the ruler, you can select the keyframes of the vector, and you can, with Alt pressed in the keyboard, you can scale them to get a more fast or slower walk. Okay? So in this example, I made the first contact here, I made the passing position here, the second contact, the second passing position, and the third contact. Okay, so now the base of my walk is this. Okay, this is very simple if you work with the ruler and with this file to know where is any position. Now, over this walk cycle, you can modify, for example, the body bones in the passing position. I can take them and moving them back. So I have this. And now I have to do exactly the same on the other passing position. So I'm gonna select all the bones I just moved and copy and paste this keyframe here. So now the character have another personality. Okay. You can add any keyframe you want. For example, we could put the arms in front and back, breaking the joints, and make the same but reversed in the next passing position. And now you have this. Okay? You can even add more keyframes. For example, between the passing position and the contact, I can take the leg and make it walk as a military walk. Okay, so if I do this in the first step, I have to make it in the second too. It is important to keep the symmetry of the walk. Okay, so in this base, you have any walk position, any walk attitude, or any walk personality you want. Okay, all with the same base. Now I'm going to hide the character because I want to animate a quadruped. So go to the files I give you in the link, select the quadruped anime file, and import it to the Anime Studio window. Okay? So now we have a bear here. Import, if you haven't imported the ruler, be sure you import the ruler too. Okay? So I'm going to take the ruler and put it over the bear. Yes. And now I'm going to set up how fast I want my animation. For example, here I want it be of 31 frames, so with Alt preset I scale it. Okay, I'm going to say the animation lasts here. Okay, and now on frame 1, we want to work with the back legs first. So we want to make the first contact here and here. Okay, we can use the translation bone tool also to adjust. And now when we have made the contact position, we want to take the walk ruler always in the frame 1, and I'm going to move it to make the red line touch the heel. Okay, so the red line is touching the heel, and the ruler is touching the base of the foot to work as a ground. Okay, so we have it here. Now scale the walk ruler to make this other red line touch the heel of the other leg. So we get this. Okay, this ruler works to get a constant speed walks. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to the bare bone layer, and I'm going to add a keyframe for all the bones on angle, and a keyframe for all the bones on translation. So I just freeze this position on frame 1. Okay, now I'm going to advance in the animation until get the second contact, which is exactly when the ruler becomes green again. So I'm going to adjust it. It is exactly the same than the first contact, but with the legs reversed. Okay, so we have this. Now we're gonna go to the third contact, which is when the ruler is green again here, and I'm going to copy and paste the first keyframes. Copy and paste here. So we have this. Now we're gonna make the passing position. So move the ruler until it gets yellow, and now the back leg gonna be up, and the other gonna be touching the red line with the heel, and touching the ground with the base of the foot. So we have this. Now we're gonna do exactly the same, but reverse it on the next passing position when the ruler is yellow. So we're gonna up this leg and make this other leg touch the heel and touch the ground. Okay, so we already have the back legs working. Okay, now we're gonna do the same but with the front legs. Okay, so we're gonna create our contact position, but now we're gonna use this line, not the red line, this line to touch the heel. Okay, so this is the green line just next to the red one. Okay, and with the other leg we're gonna do the same, but also touching the ground and this green line. Okay, the green line next to the red one. Okay, so it is here. Now we're gonna do the same in the next contact, the same but reverse. So this leg is back, this leg is in front. We move it. Okay, and make it touch the ground and the green line. Okay, now in the third contact we wanna copy the frame 1 keyframe, copy and paste it, and we have the contact for the front legs. Now we're gonna make the passing position for the front legs. So now the passing position is exactly the same of the back legs, but with the elbow reversed. So it is not pointing to the front of the workspace, it is pointing to the back of the workspace. So we have this leg touching the red line with the heel and touching the ground with the base of the foot, and the other going up. Okay, but with the elbows reversed. So we have our first passing position. Now we're gonna make the second passing position, which is exactly the same, but with the legs reversed. Okay, now this leg is up and this leg is touching the red line with the heel and the ground with the base of the foot. So we have this. Okay, now in the passing position we wanna make the body and head bones go down. So we're gonna select the rotate bone tool, take this bone down, and this bone down. Okay, so we have this. Now oops, I made a mistake. These bones should have a keyframe here too. So I'm going to copy this keyframe, which is with the bones up. I'm going to copy it here, copy and paste, and I'm going to freeze this pose too. In Anime Studio 8, there is a shortcut to freeze the pose, which is Control F, and it make a keyframe for all the bones. Okay, I'm going to delete it just to show you a faster way. So we have in the passing position these 3 bones going down, then in the contact going up, and now in the passing position again I'm going to copy this keyframe here, copy and paste. So now I have this. Okay, but this walk doesn't look so good because all the parts of the body are moving at the same time. So what we're gonna do is create a cycle for all the bones here. Select the keyframes, right click, cycle, and we're gonna choose relative cycle, okay? And we're gonna make a relative cycle of 29 frames. So what this relative cycle gonna do? This gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 until 29, and here it's gonna put the cycle. Okay? So I press OK, and I have the relative cycle here. The thing which makes relative cycle special is that if I took this keyframe and move it, the cycle will move it too. Okay? So now what we're gonna do is set the bones of the front legs here, and we're gonna select the keyframes of the keyframe of these bones, which are the ones which are in the red line, and we're gonna drag these keyframes forward. Okay, so now the back legs are not moving at exactly the same time than the front legs. So we get this. Okay, you see it starts to look more natural. Okay, now we're gonna make the same, but with the chest bone and the head bone. So I select both, select the keyframes on the red line, and move it forward. So now these 2 bones are not moving at the same time than this one. So we get a more natural movement. We're gonna do the same, but now only with the head bone. So we're gonna select the keyframes on the red line and move it forward, and now the movement is much more natural. Okay, so we could make the same with the tail. For example, in the passing position, the tail could go up, and then in the other passing position it could go up again. So I'll copy and paste this keyframe, and now I select the tail keyframes and move it forward. So I get this. Okay, so we have easily made a quadruped walk. Now the problem of this is we can't use this part of the animation because the legs are not moving right yet. We have a mess here. So what we're gonna do is start the animation, for example, on second 2. I'm gonna start the animation here, and I'm gonna finish on 31, which will be this, I think. Okay. So now my animation will start here and until the frame I want, but the cycle is working good now. Okay, so using this technique you can make any character with any legs. Okay, you for example could have a monster with 8 legs, and if you use the ruler to adjust the position of each leg to make sure the legs are all moving at the same speed, you're gonna make a fluid movement. So animate characters with several legs is not hard, actually. Okay? So that's the first part of my webinar. Now, if you have followed this, you can save your project. I'm gonna make a new project and don't want to save the product. Okay? So now we're gonna pass to the second topic. I'm going to make an easy head turn animation. For this, I'm going to use a character created by my friend Paulo, which is Paulo, not Paolo. It is a little mistake. I'm going to import this character, which is an image, here on the project. With the image masking tool, I'm going to erase the background and move it to the corner of my screen. Okay, I wanna use it as a base of my character, not to trace it, but just as a base. Okay, so now I'm going to create a new layer, or layer 1, which is already created. I'm going to rename it, double click and rename it body. Okay, so now we're gonna make the body, and we're gonna use the add point tool with sharp corners activated, and I'm going to make a simple rectangle, okay, but with a point here. Okay, now I'm going to adjust it, and I'm going to modify the curvature of this point. So I select the curvature tool and move the curvature. So this will be our body. Okay, now to paint it, I'm going to select in the swatches combo, I'm going to select custom image, and I'm going to the folder where I have the character, select it, and now it is here. So I'm going to select it with create shape tool, press create shape, and now choose here the fill color. Okay, but I don't want this be too dark, so I'm going to modify it here and make it a little clearer. Okay, so we have our body. Now I'm going to create a new vector layer, which will be named face. Okay, and in this vector layer, we're gonna create the eyes and the white chest. Okay, so we go to the drop shape tool, select circle and autofill. Okay, so I'm going to create the first eye. It was automatically filled to this blue, so I'm going to select the shape and change the color to white. Okay, so I have a white eye now. So I go back to the drop shape tool, autofill. Now I'm going to create the pupil. It is autofilled, but it is white, so now I'm going to select the pupil with the select shape tool and select black for the color. Okay, so I have the first eye. I'm going to select the points of this eye, copy with Control C in the keyboard, and paste it with Control V in the keyboard again. And now I move it to the position I want. Okay? This is very simple right now. Now I'm going to create the chest. I'm going to use the add point tool and create a line of the base and a third point of the line. Okay, so I have this, and now I'm going to modify the curvature here, so we already have the shape of the chest, and we don't need more points than this. Okay, so now I'm going to paint it, create shape, no stroke, I don't want a stroke, and paint it white. So we have this. Okay, now we're gonna create a new layer for the beak. Okay, and we're gonna create the beak with only 4 points here, and now I'm going to modify the curvature. Someone is asking. Okay, I'm gonna answer this question at the end of the webinar. Okay, so I have this, the beak, and I'm going to paint it. So select with the Create Shape tool, create shape, select the color here, and I don't want a stroke, so I uncheck it. Okay, so we have the base of our penguin. Now we want to create a new bone layer, and I'm going to name it penguin. Okay, and I'm going to put all my vector layers inside it. Now I'm going to go to the penguin layer properties, double click here, masking tab, and I'm going to select hide all. Okay, and press OK. I am creating a masking. Now I'm going to the body vector layer, double click, masking, and select clear the mask, then add this layer to it. Okay, and I'm going to select exclude stroke, because I don't want the stroke being part of the mask. So to see it well, I'm going to select the points and make the strokes wider, and make the strokes wider. Okay. In some terms I don't know, I asked my friend Paulo here, so I am not talking alone. Okay. So we get this. Now if we take the face, the point of the face, and moving this to the right and left, you can see only the part of the shapes which are inside the body. You don't see anything which is outside the body. So I'm going to undo this, and now if I take the beak, I take the beak and move it, the same will gonna happen. But I don't want the beak be masked, so I go to the beak layer, double click, go to masking, and I'm going to tell it I don't want mask this layer. Okay, so now the beak is not masked. Okay, so we have the basic penguin. Now we select the penguin layer, okay, and we go to Window, Actions, and we will see the action window. We go to New, and we're going to create a new action. It will be named Right. Okay, now we are inside this action, and we're going to make the penguin turn to the right. So we select the points of the face and move it to the right. Okay, now I'm going to create a little keyframe for curvature. It is only to freeze the curvature too. Okay, and now I go to the big layer. I'm going to rotate the big here and move it to get something similar to this. So I move it. Now I press Enter to deselect and move each point independently. So now I'm going to modify the curvature of these 2 points, and I have the big I want. Now, to be sure, I'm going to freeze this pose, so all points on this layer have keyframes on motion and curvature. So we have our right position. Now we go back to the penguin layer and create a new action. Now we're going to create the left action. Okay, so in this new action we're going to make exactly the same, but to the other side. So select the point of the face and move it to the left of the penguin. Select all the points of the beak, rotate it, move it, press Enter to deselect, move it, and modify the curvature. Okay, now I have to be sure all points have motion and curvature keyframe. I'm going to do the same with the face points. Right click, add keyframe to all points, and now I'm going to select the curvature, and I'm going to click on the screen, but without dragging to the left or to the right. And now I have a keyframe for all the points. Okay, so we have now 2 actions. Now I'm going to create the last action, which I will name Center. Okay, and this center action will be exactly the same position the penguin has now. So I go to the face, select the translate point tool, and press Reset. Now I have a keyframe for all the points, and I'm going to go to the curvature tool, press on the screen without dragging, only a click, and I have a keyframe. I'm gonna do the same for the beak. Select the point, select the translate point tool, press Reset. Now all the points have a position keyframe, and now the curvature, click on the screen, and now all have curvature position. Okay, so now we go back to the penguin mainline, double click on mainline, so we are now in the main timeline window. Okay, we are not inside any action, and we go, for example, to frame 12, go to animation, blend morphs, and now this window will be open. We have the option to turn our penguin right, left, center, of course, and we can combine any position. Okay, so if we want, for example, to turn right the penguin, we just move this, press OK, and now the penguin is turning right. Okay, the keyframes are on the vector layers, so they are here and here. Okay, now there is a little technique to make the penguin to turn back the head. To make this, we're gonna go to the penguin, double click to open the properties, and we're gonna go to the depth sort tab and check enable animated layer order. Okay, this means that if I change the position of any of the layer inside the penguin layer, there will be a keyframe. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is, for example, in frame 20, we're gonna create a new turn to the center. Okay, but we're gonna go to face, and instead of moving the points here to the center, we're gonna move them to our left. So it will look like this. Okay, and now on this keyframe, on this frame, we're gonna take the beak and put it behind the body. Okay, so now if we go to the penguin layer, there is a layer order keyframe here, and now our animation looks like this. It is like the penguin is turning back. Okay, so we have our base of the penguin. Now I'm going to clear the animation, the document. Okay, and we're gonna go work on the headphones. So we're gonna create a new vector layer on frame 0 named headphones, and I'm gonna create a simple headphone here, modify the curvature. For example, here I'm going to create this line, so I want to make a line of 3 points. I'm going to uncheck auto weld because I don't want this point weld to this line. And I have the first headphone, so I'm going to paint it of this color with no stroke, and now I'm going to select this line and paint it with the stroke black. Now the headphones, as there are inside the penguin bone layer, they are masked. So as I don't want to mask it, I go to the layer properties with double click, masking, and choose don't mask this layer. So now the headphone is okay. Now I want to modify the width of this point, and now I'm going to copy and paste this headphone and flip it. Flip the points and move it to the right here. Okay, so I have the two headphones. Now I'm going to create an arc for the headphones, so I create a 3 points line here, and I'm going to modify the curvature, and now select the line and paint it. Now I want to modify the width, so I have the headphones and the arc. Now I go back to the penguin, as I want the headphones turn left and right too. I go to the right position, double click on the right action, go to headphones, and I'm going to move this headphone here, move this other headphone here, modify the curvature from both, and modify the curvature of the arc. Okay, so I get this. I'm going to create a keyframe for all the points, and I have the right action for the headphones. Okay, it doesn't look good now, but we're gonna solve it. Now I go to the penguin layer again, double click on left action, and we're gonna do the same for the headphones. Select this phone, move it here, select this other phone, move it here, modify the curvature of both phones, and modify the curvature of the arc. And now freeze this pose in position and curvature. So we have right and left. Now we're gonna go back to the penguin layer, select center with double click, and we're gonna create a keyframe for the position of this point. So we press reset, and we're gonna create a keyframe for the curvature. So we click on any point on the workspace. So we have keyframes for all. Okay, so now if we try the blend morph, the headphones are rotating too, but we have a problem. We don't want this headphone being over the body. So what we're gonna do is split the headphone in two. For this, I'm going to duplicate the headphone, and the duplicate I'm gonna name it phone right. Okay, I'm gonna hide the other headphone, and in phone right I'm going to select the left phone and erase it. Okay, so I only have the arc and the right phone. And now, instead of erasing this point, to maintain the softness of the curvature, I'm going to hide this part of the curve. So I'm going to use hide edge. Okay, so now we have only the right part of the phone. We're gonna do the same with the other phone, but this is gonna be named phone left. So in phone left, we're gonna select the phone, erase it, and hide this part of the line. So now if the two are visible, you don't know these are separated in two layers. So now go to the penguin, go to the right action again, and now when the penguin is turning to the right, we're gonna take the right phone and moving behind the body. So now it looks okay. We're gonna make the same with the left action, but reverse. The left phone go behind the body and the right phone go over the body. So center, we wanna let it just like it is right now. So if we go to the main line, double click, and we try blend morph. Now, when it turns to the left, the layer position changes, and when we turn to the right, the layer position changes. Okay? So if we want to make it turn to the right, we press OK, and we look our animation. It won't look good because the layer position keyframe is here, and I want the layer position change before here. So I take this keyframe and move it, and now it works okay. So I can open again the blend morph window and make it turn to both sides. Here the same happened. I move the layer position keyframe, and now it works very pretty. Okay, I made a simplified draw of this character, but here you have the base to make a good simple head turn character. Okay, I think I'm done.
Thank you very much, Victor. That was wonderful. I learned quite a bit, actually, just from watching you the last couple of days.
Sorry, can I go? I'm happy you learned. It's very nice to make these things.
Great, and I'm sure a lot of people also that have joined us, a lot of the participants may have learned a few tricks by watching your webinar. So if you don't mind, we have a couple questions.
Okay, okay.
I'm going to read off the questions to you, and then hopefully if you can answer the questions. Because we're running out of time, I'm hoping if you could keep the answers short so that we can get to the other questions as well. And for the participants, feel free to start asking questions if you haven't done so already. I will get to your questions as soon as Victor is done with answering other questions. So the first question is from Fernando, and it's related to the walk cycles. He says sometimes during walk cycles, bones tend to go chaotic. Is the constraint angle for the bones a solution for this?
Wait a second. Yes, that bone constraint is based on Mancon arm construction. You can look for it on the forum. You can ask me directly if you don't find it, but that construction is very well explained on the forum, but it works very well for elbows and stuff like that. Okay?
Perfect. So Jack asks a question, is there an easier way to have a character walk towards you with swinging arms?
Como caminar para adelante. I suppose there is an easy way. I haven't thinking about it seriously yet, but I think there should be a similar ruler, but for this case. But I actually haven't touched this kind of work cycle. But I hope in the future I could give you a better answer.
Okay, perfect. Mike Ross asks a question, and he asks, is there a way to save styles that you can create and use across other projects?
Sorry, wait a second. Yes. Yes, you can. There are a couple scripts to save an action and apply it to another character construct with the same bones. I know that exists. Now you can save your character walk inside an action and use it for the same character in all the projects. I know there is a script, but I'm not sure how it works. But if I think Hayburn wrote one, Bonnie Smasher wrote another one, and maybe there is a third one. You can check all these things on the forum. If you send me a private message, I can make the search for you. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So we have another question from Jack. He says, can you use more than one blend morph in one animation, like having two separate blend morphs?
In the way you work with the blend morphs, yes, you can combine all the blend morphs of the actions you want. In this case, as this is a very basic head turn, I didn't combine much blend morph, but for example, yesterday as I was working in a project of a character with different emotions in the eyes, and with blend morph you can combine different emotions and get new ones. Okay, so that works great, and now with the new relative blend feature, this works awesomely.
Okay, thank you for that. Hans has a question. He would like to know if you use the motion graph in your workflow.
I use it a lot. I love the motion graph. I know this is very limited if we compare it with other software, but for the animation, I use it a lot. I control a lot of stuff. There is no one project in which I don't use the motion graph. So I was recommend that. Yeah. I recommend you to learn the motion graph and use it. It is very useful.
Okay, so Janet has a question. She asks, for the mouth or for mouths, are there benefits in using actions for mouth lip syncing over instead of using switch layers when you want the chin and the jaw to animate as well?
Yes, Janet.
Yes.
Yeah. Hola, Genete, te digo yo. Yes, you can create actions for the mouth. Actually, I use it a lot. This technique for make lip sync, because I think it is even better than using switch layers, because when you are working with switch layers, we have a lot of layers to work over. But when you use actions to make lip sync, you only have one layer, and that makes all the correction easier.
Okay. Jeremy asks a question regarding Poser. So have you ever used Poser with Animate Studio?
No, sorry. I never have used Poser. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, that sort of brings us to an end. I noticed that we don't have too many other questions, and we're almost running out of time. It's close to 11 o'clock. So I wanted to take this opportunity to ask Michi if she can pass me the ball, and I wanted to thank everyone for their time and actually coming over to visit us and participating in this webinar. And especially you, Victor. I know that you've had some personal hardships, so thank you very much for taking the time, and for Paulo to be there as well to help you with the translation. So thank you very much for taking the time and doing this wonderful presentation. I'm sure everyone learned a lot, And I also wanted to thank the participants for taking the time out of their day to join us and to join Victor. I hope you learned a lot. We hope to continue these sort of webinars in the future. And once again, this webinar has been recorded, and we will have it posted shortly within a week or so on YouTube and as well as on our website. So thank you very much, Victor. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Fahim, really quick, can you give everybody the forum address?
Sure.
And I'm sure if you have any questions, you can ask Victor in the forum, and he'll answer them for you.
Perfect. Absolutely. So the forum address is www.lostmarble.com. It's spelled just the way it sounds. And there is a link to the discussion area or to the forum. Click on that, and then you can go under the general discussion area, and basically Victor's handle is Selgin, S-E-L-G-I-N. Everyone knows him as Selgin, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask him. I hope Victor has the time to reply back, and I'm sure he does. He's always on there, you know, asking and or actually responding to questions, I should say. So feel free to do that. lostmarble.com. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you all.